In this session, I'm going to talk to you about slow and fast twitch muscle fibres. So you have two different types of muscle fibres that your muscles are made up of, fast twitch and slow twitch. Now, almost all of the muscles in your body are made up of a mixture of both of these, but it's the proportion of each that matters that determines the kind of work that that muscle can do. Fast twitch muscle fibres are there for rapid movement. They're there for speed. They're there for strength. These types of muscle fibres rely mainly on anaerobic respiration. So when we look at the physiology of these muscle fibres, this makes sense in what we see. So if we were to compare these to slow twitch muscle fibres, these are involved in endurance activities, stamina, where you're going to do the same thing for a long time over and over again. These types of muscle fibres rely on aerobic respiration. So, in slow twitch muscle fibres, which rely on aerobic respiration, you find that they have far more blood vessels reaching them, so a much greater blood supply in comparison to fast twitch muscle fibres, which makes sense because they need a greater access to oxygen for their aerobic respiration. They also release a large amount of energy, but they release it more slowly. Whereas the fast twitch muscle fibres, they release a small amount of energy, but they do it very quickly. So, as expected then, we see many more mitochondria in slow twitch muscle fibres, because mitochondria is the site of aerobic respiration. And we also find that the mitochondria present in slow twitch muscle fibres tend to be more convoluted. So they have more infoldings on the inner mitochondrial membrane because this is where the electron transport chain occurs. So in the fast twitch muscle fibres, we have fewer mitochondria. We will also see more myoglobin in slow twitch muscle fibres, and we know that myoglobin is a way of storing oxygen in muscle cells, and we see far less myoglobin in fast twitch muscle fibres. So slow twitch muscle fibres have a lower contractile force in comparison to fast twitch muscle fibres. They have a much higher contractile force. So slow twitch muscle fibres can generate lower power but for a longer period of time. We also see far less lactate production in slow twitch muscles, obviously, because we would expect far more lactate production from fast twitch muscle fibres because they are relying on anaerobic respiration. So we see a far greater removal of lactate from fast twitch muscle fibres than we do from slow twitch muscle fibres. We also see much more creatine phosphate in high twitch muscle fibres in comparison to slow twitch muscle fibres. So we know that creatine phosphate is a store of phosphate within muscle cells that allows a direct transfer of phosphate to ADP to form ATP to keep that muscle contraction going a little bit longer. So when looking at muscles that contain a lot of slow twitch muscle fibres, these look red. They look more red because they contain more blood vessels. They have a greater blood supply. So let's just have a think about some muscles that would contain a greater concentration of one or the other. So muscles in your lower leg and in your back, which are involved in maintaining posture, contain mainly slow twitch muscle fibres. And the muscles that move your eyes are made up of mostly fast twitch muscle fibres. So things that contract quickly but rapidly get tired, fast twitch, and things that contract slowly but keep going for a long time, slow twitch. So interestingly, chickens, just like most animals, have both fast and slow twitch muscles. Dark meat, like in chicken legs, is mainly made of slow twitch muscle fibres, and white meat in chicken wings and chicken breast is mostly made up of fast twitch muscle fibres. So that's the reason for those two different coloured meat on the chicken. If we think about that, it makes sense because they use their wings for brief bursts of flight, and this requires lots of energy very quickly, whereas they use their legs for walking and standing, which they're doing most of the time. So just have a quick think. If you were to compare the muscles of a marathon runner compared to a sprinter, how would you expect them to be different in terms of proportion of fast versus slow twitch muscles? So how would you expect them to look different under the microscope, and why?